Hello everyone and welcome to this week's review. Today I'm reviewing a movie that went through almost 20 years of development, only to have its theatrical release cancelled because of the you-know-what, and end up on Disney Plus instead. Based on a popular series of books, it is about a young Irish lad who ends up involved with fairies and all sorts of magic. This is Artemis Fowl. Before I get into my thoughts on the film, I really want to discuss its lengthy journey to the screen, because I find it genuinely fascinating. When the film rights to Owen Colfer's book were bought by Miramax in 2001, Harvey Weinstein had some unusual ideas of where to take the property. He hired Lawrence Goodman, the director of Cats and Dogs, to make the movie, and the screenplay that was written was very comedic in tone, and apparently was going to have characters from the Lord of the Rings movies crossing over. Colfer, unsurprisingly, found that to be the wrong approach of how to adapt the material. That adaptation did not get off the ground, and for a while it seemed like the project was forever stalled. Then, in 2011, Irish filmmaker Jim Sheridan signed on and worked on the screenplay for a while. For whatever reason, that never happened. Eventually, Disney acquired the rights, with Kenneth Branagh hired to direct a few years later. Disney was going to co-produce Artemis Fowl with the Weinstein Company, which would have been the first time Harvey Weinstein worked with Disney since he left Miramax. You can probably figure out why his name is nowhere to be found in the finished film. Artemis Fowl then bounced around the release calendar for a while, and then unforeseen circumstances led to it debuting on Disney's shiny new streaming service instead. So yeah, quite the adventure for young Artemis. I should probably also mention my own relationship to the book. I actually own a copy of the book, for some reason, and I've tried a few times to read it, but I've never gotten very far. But that's my fault, not the books, so I won't be offering an opinion on the source material, only the movie. What was clear from the novel's first few chapters was that Artemis is this evil genius, almost like a Bond villain in a child's body. In the film adaptation, not so much. They seem to get the genius part down, but Artemis did not come across as all that evil or menacing in the movie. To be honest, he did not strike me as having much of a personality at all. It was hard for me to care or be invested in his quest to save his kidnapped father. In fact, aside from the opening and closing scenes, he does not even leave his house. The film includes this device with Josh Gad as a giant dwarf named Mulch Diggums, narrating the story. For some reason, he talks in this gravely voice, which I found quite unpleasant to listen to through the entire runtime. The narration also highlights one of the problems with the movie, which is an overemphasis on exposition. There are so many scenes of characters talking or sitting around explaining things. A lot of the humor in the film did not land for me either, and I never felt the stakes were all that high. Not everything in Artemis Fowl underwhelmed me though. The underground world of the fairies was very visually pleasing and nicely realized by the production team. And Branagh does bring some flair to his direction of the action, even if I was not all that invested in what was happening on screen. While most of the characters bored me, there was one bright spot. Holly Short, a member of this group of military fairies, brought a spark and personality that was largely missing from the rest of the movie, and Laura McDonnell provided a charming and likable performance. I kind of wish the entire movie was centered on her and her journey. A bit of a problem when your movie is called Artemis Fowl, and I don't give a hoot about Artemis Fowl himself. Overall, despite the talent involved and a bit of creativity that does pop up from time to time, I was left largely disinterested in the story and many of the characters. They just lack that sense of magic and wonder you would expect from a fantasy film like this. And I don't understand why they would take a book about an evil criminal mastermind and make him not that. I cannot even begin to imagine how the book's fanbase feels about that. Anyway, Artemis Fowl is currently available on Disney+, so give it a watch and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching this week's review, and I'll see you next time.